Hello Borderites, and welcome to week 2 of our video emotions series. We are so excited that you're all here to join us. We miss you very much, and we want you to know that your teachers and all the staff at the school are thinking about you every single day. With schools being closed and so many things being different than what we're used to, we're all experiencing a lot of really big emotions. So we wanted to bring you some videos each week that would explain a little bit more about those emotions and help us understand those emotions a little bit better. This week's video will be about the emotion anxious, which is also sometimes called worry. You might recognize anxious as one of the feeling buddies that you've seen in your classroom, or from the feelings chart that you've seen in your classroom break space. This is anxious.
Hi everyone, it's Miss Pointmore here to talk to you guys a little bit about this week's emotion, which is anxious. And a cousin feeling of anxious is feeling worried. So I thought I would read you a little bit from my favorite book called What to Do When You Worry Too Much. And we're going to talk about what is a worry. So what is a worry? Grown-ups sometimes call worries anxiety or stress. People who worry a lot are said to be nervous or anxious. Whatever you call it, a worry is a thought that upsets you and makes you feel bad inside. A worry can be a specific thought that makes you feel scared, like, what if mom forgets to pick me up after my soccer practice? Or it can be more general, like getting a fluttery, sick feeling in your stomach every day before school, even though you aren't quite sure what's upsetting you. Everyone feels worried sometimes. It's normal to feel worried on your way to the doctor if you think you might be getting a shot, or before a spelling test if the words are really hard. Most kids worry a little if they're having a new babysitter watch them for the first time, or if they have to walk into a dark room with no lights on at all. Lots of worries don't make sense though, like worries about monsters, which don't really exist. Or worries about no one liking you, when you know the kids play with you every day. Whether or not a worry makes sense to other people, it sure seems real to the person who is feeling it. So that's just a little bit about what is a worry. People have worried thoughts about different things, and so it's really important for you to find somebody that you trust to talk about your worries with.
Hi everybody, it's Mr. Robinson. Everyone has worried or anxious feelings sometimes. Feeling worried or anxious is okay. Let's take a look at our feeling buddy anxious. We can see anxious feelings on someone's face and their body. When we look at anxious face, we can see their anxious eyes are wide and looking around. We can see their anxious eyebrows and forehead are wrinkled. We can see their anxious mouth is uncomfortable. Feeling anxious can look other ways too. Let's take a look at some pictures of other kids to see what they look like when they're anxious. Sometimes anxious looks down, like sad, because the person doesn't know what to do. Or maybe they want to be alone because they're trying to avoid their worry. Sometimes people cry when they're anxious because they're feeling so uncomfortable inside. Sometimes anxious looks like shy and we want to hide or be near somebody that we feel safe with. Other times, anxious might look like somebody is lost in thought. I wonder what worries this boy is thinking of. When we feel anxious, we might want to stay in our room where we feel safe. Or we might stop doing the things that we used to think were fun. Like Ms. Pointmore said, when we feel anxious, it's important to talk to an adult that we trust.
If you notice someone looks worried or anxious, there are a few things that you can do to be helpful. First, you can wish them well. When we wish somebody well, we think of something that brings us warm feelings in our heart, something that makes us feel really happy. And then we take a deep breath and we send out that positive energy, those warm feelings from our heart to the other person. So it could look a little bit like this. I wish you well. Another thing that you could do is ask them if there's anything that they need help with. So it could sound like, I noticed that you look a little bit worried. Is there anything I can do to help? Those are just a few ways that you can be helpful and show somebody else that you care about them.
Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. Troutman. Our bodies can feel and look many different ways when we are anxious. Your chest and stomach might feel tight, your thoughts may be racing, or your brain may feel really fast. It might be hard to concentrate. Your heart may be beating quickly, and your breathing can be fast and shallow. You may notice that your muscles feel antsy, or you might have fidgety hands and or feet. Noticing the way your body feels is helpful. It can give you clues about what zone you may be in. Noticing the way your body feels may also remind you of things you can do to help change the way you feel.
So after we've noticed a feeling in our body, what can you do when you feel anxious? First, it can be helpful to name the emotion. You can say to yourself, I'm feeling anxious. Each of our feelings has an important message for us. When we feel anxious, our body is asking us, am I safe? Since it sometimes is hard to know the answer to that question, it can be helpful to find a teacher, friend, brother, sister, or an adult you trust when you feel anxious. Talking with a trusted teacher, friend, or member about a feeling of anxiousness can also be helpful. You can say, I'm feeling anxious, and tell them why. This could sound like, I'm feeling anxious because the schedule is different today. Also, try and remember to always use positive self-talk and take good care of yourself. Say, I can handle this. Keep breathing. Anxious won't last forever.
Hi friends, I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that we can do when we feel anxious. I have felt anxious about quite a few things recently. So one of the things we have done at school quite a bit is breathing, and so I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about breathing. So when I get anxious, this is what I like to do. I put my hands on my stomach and I take a deep breath through my nose while my stomach goes out. And then I blow it out and my stomach goes in. And so at school we practice star breathing, and that means smile, take a breath, and another one we do is the pretzel, one of my favorites, where you cross your hands with your thumbs down, link your arms, twist them up, cross your legs, and take in a deep breath. Do it with me.
We all experience different feelings throughout the day, and our feelings change over time. Sometimes feelings come and go quickly, but other times they stay with us for a while. When you're feeling anxious, it's important to remember that anxious does not last forever.
Let's hear from a few staff members about times when they have felt anxious and what types of things that they do that they find helpful when they're feeling anxious.
Hello students, I'm Mrs. Clark. Something that has been making me feel anxious recently is when my computer isn't working right. When I feel anxious, something that has helped me is taking 3 big deep breaths. Let me show you. I'll breathe in through my nose and out my mouth slowly. And I'll do that 3 times. And that makes me feel better. But sometimes the breaths aren't enough. So what I try to do is take a break. I try to find somewhere quiet, safe, and comfortable so that I can try and not feel anxious anymore. I hope that's helpful for you. Maybe you want to give it a try when you're anxious.
Hello students, I'm Mrs. Edmond. Something that's made me feel anxious recently is working from home and trying to help kids through a computer. When I'm feeling anxious, one thing that's helpful for me is to spend some time outside, even just walking around my yard, noticing nature.
Another thing that can be helpful when we're experiencing all sorts of different emotions, and that's also just really good for our overall health, is practicing gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we think of different things that we're thankful for. These could be little things like maybe birds chirping outside, or a nice cold glass of water to drink. Or they could be big things that are really important in our life, like maybe our parents or a really good friend. But practicing gratitude is just about remembering all those really good, positive things in our life. So let's hear from a few staff members about things that they're grateful for.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Mihalik, and 3 things that I feel grateful for today are this blanket, because I'm feeling extra cold today. I'm grateful for my dog, Abby, because she loves to snuggle. And I'm grateful for my husband, Scott, because he knows how to have fun. And it's important for me to have fun too.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Scott, and 3 things that I'm grateful for are sunshine and dancing in the living room and spending time with family.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Arps, and 3 things that I'm thankful for today are my family and friends, for sunshine, because it was out a little bit this morning, and for good music. I love listening to songs about all different kinds of feelings, so I'm always thankful for music.
Now it's your turn to practice gratitude. Can you think of 3 things that you're thankful for? Go ahead, give it a try. And if you're up for a challenge, maybe you could tell these things to somebody else by the end of today. Or you could write your ideas down on a piece of paper, or maybe even in a notebook or a journal. Some people keep a gratitude journal and they write in it every day. This can be really good for our overall health, and surprisingly, it can also help us with managing all sorts of emotions.
When I'm feeling worried or anxious, I take time to do mindful breathing. Mindful breathing helps me to feel calm and peaceful. Let's do some together again. So remember, you're just going to sit still, have a relaxed, calm body. You're going to let your eyes close and just try to put your attention on your breathing only. Just focus on what it feels like to be breathing. You can put your hand on your chest or tummy if that helps you to feel your breathing. Let's give it a try. Just relax. Give it a try. I challenge you to do it on your own. See you next time.
Thanks everybody for watching our video about anxious feelings. We hope you learned something that'll help you the next time you feel anxious or worried. We look forward to seeing you next week for another video about emotions. Until then, from our heart to yours, we wish you well. If you have concerns about your child's social, emotional, or academic learning, be sure to contact their teacher or contact their school counselor, Craig Robinson at Blaine Primary School or Sarah Point Moore at Blaine Elementary School.